What if one of the world's most powerful fashion companies never needed a runway? No flagship stores, no fashion shows, no celebrity designers building its image. And yet, it ships millions of products across 220 plus countries, generates billions in revenue every single year, and dominates the very platforms where attention lives today. That company is Shein. But here's the secret most people don't see. Its success isn't just about cheap clothes, fast trends, or luck. It's a system, a machine that watches behavior, tracks patterns, and reacts faster than almost any company in the fashion world. It can spot a trend, turn it into a product, and deliver it to millions in just days. Not weeks, not months, days. And once a system like this scales, it doesn't just compete, it quietly takes over. So how exactly does it work? And why are even the biggest global brands still trying to catch up?
Origins and early growth.
To understand how Shein became a global phenomenon, we need to go back to 2008. At that time, the fashion world moved like clockwork. Designs were planned months in advance. Collections were released seasonally. Stores controlled everything. It was structured, controlled, predictable, and slow. But while most brands were obsessed with perfecting that system, someone else was seeing the opportunity in a completely different way. Chris Su. Here's the twist most people don't realize. He didn't start by dreaming of becoming a fashion icon. He didn't launch with a bold, world-changing design vision. Instead, he asked a question almost no one in fashion was asking. What are people already looking for? Not what should we create next, but what is already trending? What do consumers crave right now? And that simple pivot would change everything. In the early days, Shein sold affordable women's clothing, wedding dresses, everyday fashion staples, nothing that seemed revolutionary, nothing flashy. But behind the scenes, something extraordinary was happening. Shein wasn't trying to predict trends, it was reacting. Every search online, every social post, every click, every pattern was being tracked, analyzed, and transformed into actionable insight. If a style started gaining attention online, Shein noticed. If people searched for a specific look, Shein responded. Design, production, listing, all happening at a speed the rest of the industry couldn't match, days instead of months. And that speed, it created an invisible gap, a growing chasm between traditional fashion brands and this new model. By 2015, the results became impossible to ignore. Shein wasn't just selling in China anymore. It expanded into the United States, Europe, and the Middle East. And here's the kicker. Consumers didn't just try it once. They came back, again and again. Every visit brought something new, something trending, something they hadn't seen before. That constant novelty, it wasn't luck. It wasn't a coincidence. It was engineered. A system, quiet, invisible, precise. And as it scaled, that system would do more than sell clothes. It would quietly start rewriting the rules of global fashion.
Digital marketing and social media dominance.
Speed alone doesn't make a company unstoppable. No, attention does. And this is where Shein made one of its most daring and calculated moves. While traditional fashion brands were still pouring millions into TV commercials, glossy magazine spreads, and massive billboards, Shein was looking elsewhere. Not in print, not on television, not at the old-school advertising everyone else trusted. It was looking at phones, on social media, at platforms where people spend hours every single day, scrolling, watching, liking, sharing, and engaging in ways no ad executive could fully control. TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube. These weren't just apps. They were the battlegrounds for attention, and Shein didn't just participate, it quietly conquered. But the secret wasn't just being on these platforms. Most brands advertise. Shein disappeared into the content. No overly polished campaigns, no staged models, no forced messaging. Instead, Shein let real people do the talking. Unboxing videos, try-ons, styling tips, fashion hauls. Content so authentic it looked accidental, spontaneous, and personal. And here's the twist. While it looked completely organic on the surface, behind the scenes, there was a machine. Every view, every click, every like, every share, every second someone paused on a video, tracked, measured, analyzed, fed into a system designed to detect patterns, predict trends, and turn data into action faster than any competitor could even react. If a product started gaining traction, Shein's system immediately responded. Production scaled, inventory adjusted, designs tweaked, variations multiplied. Within days, what began as a small trend could explode into a global phenomenon. This wasn't marketing. This was a feedback loop, a self-reinforcing engine. Trend, data, production, distribution, new trend. Each cycle is faster, sharper, and more effective than the last. And then there was another move, almost invisible to outsiders. Micro-influencers. Thousands of them, each with small but highly engaged audiences. Trusted voices in niche communities. Local tastemakers. Each one became a mini distribution channel. Localized influence, personal reach, global impact. Shein wasn't just everywhere, it was intimate everywhere at once. While competitors spent months planning campaigns and guessing trends, Shein was already reacting to what was happening right now. Every second mattered. Every moment counted. And that's when dominance truly began. Because being first in real-time engagement isn't just an advantage, it's a game changer. Shein didn't just advertise. It redefined influence, turned every user into a node in an unstoppable system. A brand that never sleeps. A system that never stops learning. And competitors? Still trying and failing to catch up.
Cultural impact. By now, Shein wasn't just growing. It was reshaping behavior. And what was happening wasn't just about clothing. It was about how people experience fashion itself. Because the rules were changing. For decades, trends were controlled by a small, elite group. Designers, fashion houses, runway shows, seasonal collections that dictated what people could wear. But now, the power was shifting. A single video could spark a trend. A single post could reach millions. Within hours, an idea that started in one city could spread across the globe. And here's the kicker. Shein didn't just follow this shift. It amplified it. It accelerated it. It turned every trend into an opportunity, every viral post into a product, and every click into data feeding the next collection. The system worked at unprecedented speed. And with that speed came consequences. Because faster production means faster consumption. Faster consumption means more waste. And more waste raises hard questions about sustainability, about environmental impact, about the life of a product. Critics began to speak up, highlighting the risks of ultra-fast fashion, pointing to resource use, production practices, the environmental footprint of mass, rapid manufacturing. And these conversations started attracting attention globally. Consumers began questioning the cost of instant fashion. Brands had to respond. Suddenly, the discussion shifted from style to responsibility. But here's the tension. Shein had already changed expectations. How fast people expected trends to move, how quickly clothing should be available, how accessible fashion could be for everyone, everywhere. Once expectations like that are set, the industry has no choice but to adapt. Retailers had to rethink timelines. Designers had to reconsider collections. And consumers? They became part of the engine, demanding more, faster, and constantly. And that's the true power Shein created. It didn't just sell clothes. It rewired the culture. It made fashion instant. It made it digital. It made it global. The ripple effect? Massive. Competitors scrambled. Sustainability debates intensified. Social media amplified every trend. And while the controversy rages on, Shein quietly keeps moving. Not just a brand, not just a retailer, a force that changed the way the world thinks about fashion.
Business model and financial strategy.
Behind all of Shein's explosive growth, there's a system. Not flashy marketing, not glamorous designers, not even just speed. It's a system built for one thing: efficiency. And this is what makes Shein so hard to compete with. Unlike traditional retailers, it doesn't follow the same rules. No physical stores, no massive overhead, no seasonal catalog cycles that dictate when products appear. Everything is digital, direct to consumer. From website to app to delivery, Shein controls the entire journey. That alone slashes costs, but it's only the beginning. The real magic happens in production. Instead of betting on huge quantities of a single design, Shein starts small, tiny batches, minimal risk. Products are tested in the real world, and then the system observes. Every click, every share, every like, every pause on a video feeds back into the algorithm. It's watching, learning, predicting. If a product performs well, production ramps up instantly. Thousands of units, then tens of thousands. If it doesn't, it disappears quietly. No overproduction, no mountains of unsold inventory, just continuous, precise adjustment. And then there's the supply chain, digitally integrated, hyper-responsive, built to move faster than almost any competitor. From concept to design to production to delivery, Shein can take a trending idea and put it in the hands of consumers in record time. When all these elements operate together, the results are staggering. Billions in revenue, rapid global expansion, dominance that seems almost untouchable. But here's the twist. Competitors are not standing still. Brands like Zara, H&M, and Forever 21 are adapting, investing in e-commerce, accelerating production, and rethinking their strategies to compete in a rapidly changing market. All of them are trying to close the gap. But here's the problem. Shein's advantage isn't just one innovation. It's a full ecosystem. Every component, data, production, supply chain, marketing, works in tandem, constantly learning, constantly improving. Small tweaks compound into massive advantages. And here's the cliffhanger. While competitors scramble to adapt, Shein is already moving ahead, planning the next product, launching the next trend. And most of the world is only beginning to notice the scope of what this company has built. This isn't just fast fashion. It's a blueprint for modern business dominance.
Lessons and takeaways. So, what can we take from all of this? At first glance, it looks like a story about fashion, but it's not. It's a story about how modern systems win. First, data changes everything. Because when a company understands behavior in real time, it doesn't guess, it knows. And that level of precision creates an advantage that traditional systems simply can't match. Second, attention is leverage. Being present where people already spend their time, scrolling, watching, engaging, is far more powerful than trying to interrupt them somewhere else. And third, speed compounds. Small improvements in speed don't stay small. They build, they multiply, and over time, they become almost impossible to catch. But here's the deeper insight. Shein didn't invent fashion. It didn't invent e-commerce. It didn't invent social media. What it did was combine them more efficiently, more intelligently, and execute relentlessly. And once a system like that starts moving, it doesn't slow down. It accelerates. Shein's rise isn't just a success story. It's a signal that industries are changing, that systems built on speed, data, and adaptability are quietly replacing traditional models. And the companies that understand this shift, they don't just compete, they lead. But here's the bigger picture. Fashion is only one example, because these same principles, data, attention, and speed, are being applied across entire industries. And in our next video, we're breaking down one of the most powerful examples of this transformation, a company that didn't just change shopping, but redefined how the world buys, delivers, and consumes products. The rise of Amazon, how it started small, scaled relentlessly, and built one of the most dominant empires in modern history. Because once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. And this is only the beginning.